What is good, YouTube, man? I'm back, day 3 in a row. Got us another video. This one is my realistic offseason 2.0, man. I already did one of these, but a lot of players have already been signed to teams that were released, that were, all kinds of things. A lot of players looks like they're not going to be on the move. So there's a bunch of players that I didn't even put in my last realistic offseason because I knew they weren't going to be available, and they're obviously not available anyways. So this is my realistic offseason 2.0. I like it, man. The Raiders right now have around 33 to 35 million in cap space with all the cuts and all that kind of stuff. So, moves can be made, right? So obviously one guy who is still yet to be cut is Marcus Mariota. At the moment, his contract is hindering us from trading him. So whether we can get a 5th round, a 4th round pick out of any team at the moment, I think we should do it. He has a big paycheck coming, man. It's pricey. It's 10.7, close to almost $11 million. So it has a pretty penny right now. He's a guy who he can start for a different team, and maybe he can't start right away, but he can for sure fight for a job. So that's my basically our last move that I think we should make in terms of cuts. There's obviously guys like practice squad players that we can always try to get rid of. There's nothing wrong with getting rid of practice squad players. Those guys come and go. Also another guy who is taking up a not so big chunk of change but can help us re-sign a couple depth pieces is Arden Key. He could be another guy looking to be moved. So let's just say that Arden Key and all those practice squad players didn't get moved and did stay on the team. Marcus Mariota, I think he will not be here next year. So with him gone by the beginning, he could be with us for a while, like a while into free agency is what I'm trying to say, and he could just be cut and then scooped up by another team. It doesn't have to be that he has to be cut at the beginning of free agency. There's no times table with Marcus Mariota because he's signed to us. He is our player for this next season no matter what, unless we do release him, unless we do trade him, which, like I said, if we find a trade partner, whether it's for a 4th, a 5th round pick, I believe you should let him go. He's a backup for us. He's not better than DC. He can go be worth those $10 million, and I know his contract, the reason why it's hindering us is because he has so many incentive-based things in his contract, which is probably why I think that he will just end up being cut, because he is playing hardball at the moment. He doesn't want to just be his contract is making it hard for teams to be like, okay, well, I'm not gonna give you guys a 3rd round pick because with all his incentives, I can be paying him up to $22 million. Granted, that's only if he went out and won the Super Bowl, so that won't happen. But yeah, Marcus Mariota, I think, will be gone, and with that cut, we will be up to around $45 million. Another thing that I think could happen, but is not in this video, is maybe DC gets an extension that could put us all the way up to $60 million in cap space. But I think that that's more likely to possibly happen next year than this year. But at the moment, we're going to be sitting at $45 million with the Mariota gone. So starting off, I know a lot of people may not know this, but your rookies that you bring in is part of your cap hits. So I believe the year that we had those 3 first-round picks, it took away $7 million in cap for all the rookies that year. So I'm just gonna, I know we don't have that, but I know we don't have 3 first-round picks, but I'm gonna just base it off just like that. So I'm gonna just say that we need to pay all of our rookies $7 million combined. So that's already a hit to the cap. That takes away money from our cap already. We do need to remember that, guys. You can't go into a free agency with $45 million free agency and blow all $45 million, because you still need to pay your rookies. They still take a part of your contract. I mean your cap space. So $7 million immediately goes to the rookies. Like I said, I will be talking about a little bit of draft choices as well, because this is the whole off season, not just free agency. So first things first, we all know that we did get rid of Richie. I do think that, I think there's a strong possibility that he can be back. And in this off season, I'm gonna say he will be back for a contract of $4 million. So we had 45. We gave 7 to the rookies. 4 million to Richie. It's a bit higher than the veteran minimum, so I think he will be a little bit attracted to that. Also, he knows John Gruden's playbook. He likes John Gruden. He likes the area. I think he can be back for around $4 million. So that's around $11 million already gone in the rookies in our first re-signing. Now, guys who I think we should re-sign, and we can re-sign with this $45 million, is Takk McKinley, man. Takk McKinley, I think, will be back on around a $4 million deal. He will be back with the Raiders. I think he should be back. He's a good player. I'm not sure if any of you guys were on the live call that I did with Docs, man. Shout out to him. I said this before. He didn't want to be in Atlanta, much like Trent Brown didn't want to be with the Raiders. When you have an unmotivated player, you're not going to get the best out of them. You know what I'm saying? So Takk McKinley came here, expressed how much he wanted to play for the Raiders. And I think a $4 million, $1 deal will seal the deal for him, because he won't just only be wanting $4 million. He knows his worth. He will be getting more than that next year. So that's already $15 million gone. And we have more choices to make. So, now, our first free agent signing, who I think is a must go after, as he hasn't been tagged just yet. I'm crossing my fingers that he does not get tagged at all, is John Johnson III, man. We've seen our free safety options just get slimmer and slimmer. This is a guy, if he hits the market, you grab him. Now, what does kind of scare me a bit is that since the free safety market did just get slimmer, he is now the top safety. I know for some people it was Marcus Williams, but he's now gonna be getting the top dollar at free safety. So I think that we can get him for a contract for $15 million a year. That will take $15 million in our cap hit. So like I said, we just re-signed Richie. We re-signed Takk. We gave $7 million to the rookies. So right there, with Richie, Takk, and the rookies is $15 million. $15 million goes to John Johnson III. So that's $30 million out of the 45 gone. And there's two people left that the Raiders will come out and grab. And that, first of all, it will be a re-signing of Denzelle Good, man. Denzelle Good. I think that we should re-sign him to play guard, because let's be honest, that's what he did his best at, and that's what he is good at. You know, it's not saying that he's bad at other positions. He's good at all positions, as we've seen this year. But I feel like if we re-signed him to play tackle, we would need to pay him tackle kind of money, and that would be a bit too much. Also, to touch up on that, Brandon Parker, I said this before, is not a bad option, man. Brandon Parker just needs snaps, much like Mo Hurst. Those are guys that need snaps. The reason why Brandon Parker is, he's a late bloomer is because he just didn't get the opportunities. And yes, when he did get the opportunities in past years, he underperformed. He was very underwhelming. He did not play good. But we're talking about this year. What he did, he was good when he got the chance. And I think Brandon Parker should hold down that right tackle spot. We should re-sign Denzelle Good for a $5 to $7 million contract. I think it'll be more in between. So around $6 million for Denzelle Good to come back. I think he'll be more on a 2-year deal. He is getting up there in age, possibly even 3 years. 3 years could be a bit better, so that you can feel a bit more comfortable there, So like I said, that's $36 million. That's $36 million with all those guys. And the last guy that I think we should get, and it fits perfectly, you have to bring back, and it looks like he's already on his way back from the sound of reports, from the sound of rumors, is Nelson Aguilar, man. Nelly needs to come back. He has that connection with DC, man. And you hear what Mayock has said. It sounds like Mayock has a man crush on Nelly, man. He brought everything that we thought that Ruggs was going to bring last year. Nelly was our deep threat. Nelly was our big play guy. Nelly was the guy that DC had all the confidence in throwing the ball to at the wide receiver position. Nelly really, I think he should, and I think he will come back. For a $9 million price tag a year, I think that this will be more like a 2, maybe 3 year deal. I think more a 2 year deal is a bit more comfortable because he's 28. He's gonna be 3 years at the 30 years old at the end of his 2 year contract, if that's what we were to re-sign him at. So that would actually be 45 million on the dot. Now, like I said, that's without maybe cutting practice squad players. Arden Key, who will save us around $2 million. Also, that's saying that maybe the cap doesn't go up a bit more. So yeah, these are all options. So like I said, in this, I think that this is all possible, man. I will never give you guys a video that I think won't happen. I will never say, let's go out and get Leonard Williams. I will never say, let's go out and get Justin Simmons, because those guys were never going to be on the market. I'm telling you things that I think really can happen, and I think possibly will happen, and in terms of, I know we all want defense and all this kind of stuff, and I think we will all be getting our wish this year with going after strictly defense, because we have a proven defensive coordinator, and he will be all over our draft picks this year. So I think that in free agency we picked up, what was it? 2 defensive players in free agency. It was John Johnson and Tack McKinley. The rest were re-signs. We re-signed Richie for the offensive line. We re-signed Nelly for the receiving core, and we re-signed Denzel Good for the offensive line. Now, I will talk about potential players that we can grab at 17 real quick. I do believe that if you do get that free safety position shored up and ready to go for that free safety position next year, I do believe that at pick 17, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is your guy, man. There's nothing wrong with him. He is a bit undersized, but guess what? That is how the game is played nowadays. It's not smash mouth football anymore. Well, it is, but not throughout all 32 teams. Maybe teams that play that, I think, is really the Raiders, maybe the Niners, and sometimes other teams in the NFC. But I really think that at pick 17, Jock is the pick, man. He's a good player, dude. There's nothing wrong with him. Like I said, he is a bit undersized for his position, but guess what? The best linebackers in the game at the moment are quote-unquote undersized. They're just very athletic. And you really look at his tape, man. He plays with some... Dude, it seems like he plays just like Abram with one of those smelling salts in his helmet. That man is flying all over the field. He's everywhere. He's not just a run stopper. He's not just a pass coverage. That man can hit. He will hurt you. And he's overall just a good player. Now, if you were to say, all right, we won't spend $15 million on a guy like John Johnson, but we will bring back a guy like Nicholas Morrow, then obviously at 17, you don't go out and draft Jock. You would go out, and I believe you would probably trade back your 17th overall pick and go after a guy like Trayvon Mulray, get yourself some extra later round picks with that trade back, And even then, instead of you just only drafting Trayvon Mulray, you can also probably try and bring in a guy like Malik Hooker or a guy like Anthony Harris to just make sure that you don't have just a free safety coming out of the draft and just starting, Like I said, this is my realistic offseason 2.0, man, I think this is good. It's 45 million with all this, and I'm accounting for the rookies as well. I'm not just saying, oh, we have 45 million, let's blow 45 million in free agency and have no more money for the rookies, because then we would be back to square one. We would be back in the negative cap space and having to cut more people next year. So, like I said, you re-sign, you get your rookies all down into contracts for $7 million. You re-sign Richie for $4 million. You bring in John Johnson III for $15 million a year, plus or minus. He could go a little bit lower because I'm talking about 15 mil on average a year, because maybe this year he'll only get 12 and next year he'll get around 17. I'm saying that because, you know, all these players do obviously know the same thing that all 32 other teams know, that the cap space is lowered, so maybe teams can't afford it this year, but will give it to them in the future no matter what. So like I said, 15 mil for John Johnson, 4 mil for Tack on a 1-year-ish deal. Re-sign Good for 2, maybe 3 years for $6 million. I think is fair. That might even be a bit overpaying for him. You re-sign Nelly for $9 million, unless he wants less. That's even better. And at pick 17, whether it's you trade back and get a safety, or you stay put and you draft Jock at 17. Unless a guy like Micah Parsons falls, which I don't think he will. But if he does, you know, we saw Isaiah Simmons sliding back, dropping closer and closer to the Raiders pick. I think last year, I believe we picked at pick 11 or 12, and Isaiah Simmons went, what, a pick or two before us, when we all thought he was a top 5, maybe top 7 pick. So maybe Micah Parsons can fall to us, but this is my realistic offseason 2.0, man. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what other players you would scramble around. Maybe you don't re-sign Tag. Maybe you don't re-sign Richie, and maybe you spend that 8 mil on somebody else. But really, let me know in the comments down below what other videos I can do. If you liked this video, give me a like, man. It doesn't hurt nobody. You know what I'm saying? So also, drop your comments, man. Drop your comments down below. I love reading all your comments. Subscribe if you can. And that'll be it for today. Peace.